So onside kick, just before we play it,
Mm-hmm.
how do we and by the way, this is a surprise. This is a surprise onside kick. Doesn't matter. How do we think about onside kicks? Daniel, you're up there as a back judge. You are on the kicker's restraining line, which here's the 35-yard line. Let's say you know it's an onside kick. Just walk me through your mentality real quick, because talk about a different part of the game that we never see. Oh my gosh. How do you think about how do you prepare yourself for that?
Oh man, this is so challenging. I mean, we're going to officiate the kicking team restraining line, which we're now going to transition to making it a plane, which means if any part of the body is beyond the restraining line before the ball is kicked, that's OFK. Like, it's hard to explain if you haven't officiated that, how challenging that is when they're running from 5 yards away full speed towards that line. That's really, really difficult. Now the ball's going to go just 10 yards and it's going to bound, and we're going to have about 87 collisions, which doesn't even make sense because there's only 11 matchups on the field, but bodies are just flying everywhere. This is just such a challenging thing. So as a back judge, what I want to be thinking about when the ball's kicking towards me is, excuse me, from that 0 to 5 yards. So we're officiating OFK 0 to 5. I just want to have a sense of where the ball goes in case we have like a wonky bounce that potentially could, come up and hit a kicking team player. I want to be prepared to beanbag that as an illegal touch. Then once we get into that 8 to 12 yards, I know that my short wing, because we said we were anticipating that, and the deep wing are going to be on the 40 and 45-yard line. I'm really going to hope that they own the touching piece. I'm going to try to officiate blocks because we have two things that are very, very possible here. We could have a blindside block. We've seen that often. The other thing we could have is an illegal block, which means A is blocking before they're eligible to touch the ball, which is really hard to parse out in real speed. So those are the things I'm thinking about as a back judge.
Very good. Sony, let's just go slow as possible as we step.
Yeah, that's what we always want to do. Let's just make these go as slow as possible.
Yeah. So let's slow motion this play and pay close attention to the pattern of this kick, because this is important. Okay, so this is a kicker. Look at he almost. I think I talked about Daniel's iron shots earlier. His iron shots don't look like this either, by the way.
Not doing that.
This isn't a bounding onside kick. He basically tries to, like a wedge, flap that ball up into the air. So you see how, and I can tell from, and it's like, what are you talking about? Video's way zoomed out. But just look at how he approaches it, right? And he's basically trying to pooch that ball up in the air. See that? So the rules change. I mean, gosh, the rules change. The other thing that happens is a very heads-up play by the receiving team who gives a fair catch signal, kind of. See him wave his arm there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
He waves his arm right there.
So
oh my gosh. How do we do that?
Yeah, so this is the other piece that I didn't mention, and I don't have to front load this much as much, Brandon, because as a back judge, I'm often thinking about, far more than anybody else on the field from an officiating perspective, I'm thinking about catch interference. So this is a rule that I'm super comfortable with, and I'm ready to transition to immediately. So when I see that lob wedge or that him lofted, I don't have to have, like, when I'm thinking about team A blocking before they're eligible, I've really got to prepare myself for that. I don't officiate that once or twice a year. When I think about KCI,
great insight.
I think about that often, right? And so when I see that ball in the air, and then even from the college rule perspective, if it bounces once and goes in the air, I still have KCI on the table. I'm not sure how that works in high school and NFL, but from college, I've still got KCI, even if it bounces once. And then, by the way, his fair catch signal does nothing for him in the college rule relative to his freedom or his opportunity to go catch that ball. Once that ball's in the air, he reserves the right to have an unimpeded opportunity to catch the ball. And so all of those things are going in my mind. Now, when I see that fair catch signal, now I'm thinking about what happens after he catches it and how close they can be to him as he catches it. So, yeah.
It's just outstanding stuff right there. And I think absent the fair catch signal, he still gets protection.
That's right. That's right.
What if it bounces? Does the fair catch signal do anything? Bounces once.
If it bounces once, he doesn't have the opportunity. Gosh, that's a great.
No. He does have the opportunity. I'm not sure about the whole fair catch.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. He has the opportunity for an unimpeded opportunity. He can still be interfered with.
Yeah. So listen, oh man, what you just said is so good. You're used to kick catch interference. You might have to brush up on the, like one bounce thing, because that's rare and I don't mean brush up. I'm saying like in the moment.
Yeah, no, right.
But what you said is so you prioritize your front loading in your mind consciously, front loading your mind with the blocking rules by the kicking team, which we're probably not going to have time to go cover tonight because we're already past our time. So we can look up those and we can find play examples, and I'm sure we will. But the overall concept here is these rules are so different from the rest of the 150 plays, 175 plays, 200 plays of the game, that you do a conscious front-loading exercise when you get into an onside kick, that you basically say, okay, what have I not seen in a while? I'm going to think about that rule. You're very comfortable with the KCI component in terms of the opportunity to catch a kick, so you don't think about that, which is almost the opposite of what a lot of us do most of the time. It's easy for my brain to focus on things I'm really good at that I know. It's harder for my brain to recall things that I don't see all the time, that I'm not that good at. That's a comfort thing, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's really interesting that you brought that up, and I find that fascinating, and I just learned something tonight. That's just outstanding.
Yeah.
Woo. There you go, Sony.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that was clear. So the bounce, he's got an unimpeded opportunity. He also has fair catch protection, which in relative to him being like his opportunity to catch that kick isn't tied to that fair catch signal. The fair catch signal keeps him from getting blown up. You know what I mean? Like once he catches it. But in terms of his ability to make the catch, he doesn't even need the fair catch signal. So I guess just specific to that action.
So Sony, we've tried and failed to cram a lot of concepts into an hour. We went 15 minutes over.
Yep.
We touched on probably 15 or 20 different concepts that we didn't even really do justice.
Yeah.
That's how complex the kicking game is.
That's what I'm learning.
That makes the point of why this is such a good, it's just good material. We didn't even talk about, we touched on it. We didn't talk strongly about foul reporting during plays.
Oh my God.
So important on how to break that down and to get the right enforcement spot. We mentioned it once. That should be a whole series of sessions, is how important that is and how complex that can get. I mean, it's crazy, right? The goal line, we had 2 goal line plays. There's other concepts that we can discuss. So
the good news is, Brandon, you can go out in the fall scrimmage and work a whole bunch of kick plays, right?
No.
They're not
Great point.
They're not going to do it.
If you see kick plays during the fall, they're usually on air or they got those pads. I mean, there's very seldom we get kick plays live. The returner just catches the kick and runs unopposed. There's really no blocking.
You got to do a ton of film work to be ready for these when September comes around.
Dang. Yeah. Wow. What takeaway for me was, amongst many other things, was just we got to do another session on this general topic. We got to not wait too long because we've got a lot more that we can cover on this for sure. Steven, he's come to Iowa. You can work some D3 JV games. Kick plays are all case plays.
The kick plays are all case plays.